It's 2023, and what worked on Airbnb 5 years ago doesn't work anymore. The bar was much lower back in the day. But what changed? Your property that was doing so well years ago is just not doing so well anymore. And I figured it out. I've been spending so much time split testing variables in my own listings and the listings of my students and spying on you all to find out what's really working in 2023. This video is going to give that to you. Some of you are doing a really good job already, but this video will still give you extra resources so you can keep up being a leader in your market. If your property is just not performing well enough, you need this video. Let's go. Welcome back, YouTube world. My name is Sean Rocky Jeech, Airbnb host for 8 years. I've been teaching it for 6, and I'm probably the worst at this thing that I'm trying to teach you right now. Actually, I've had to come a long way in just a few short months to get most of my properties back into fighting condition. See, we scaled up to 155 doors just being an average cost-effective host, and yeah, we were crushing it for a long time, but Airbnb made some changes, didn't they? Yeah, they changed their algorithm. All of a sudden people weren't showing up in search, and there was a scramble. And of course, I went immediately to what I was good at, which is the numbers, the data, looking for trends, and I found a lot in there. I was even able to, pull a lot of hosts out of what was a bad situation by teaching them how to change the algorithm and switch to a $0 cleaning fee strategy, but I'm not talking about that today. Today's way more creative, actually. What's gonna make you competitive in 2023 is going to rest far beyond just the business basics that I tend to teach. And I'm totally not saying that you can abandon business best practices. You should be switching to a $0 cleaning fee. You should be making sure that your listing performs well on the algorithm as far as the ones and the zeros goes. That stuff is always going to be important. But there's this harder to capture element of a good Airbnb, isn't there? It's the magic of the space. And I wanted to take a minute to give you some of my findings because I'm about to reshoot a whole big module for my students in Cracking Superhost. So I'm going to give them a lot of really cool data, but there's some basics for all of you that you guys can follow. Even all of you with even just one door, you can take this video and vastly improve your space to make more revenue, higher dollar per night, to show up better on the algorithm because people just are clicking on your listing more. So without further ado, let me grab my coffee and here we go. Did you know that the very first tip I'm going to give you for this video has been here in the video the whole time? Can you guess it? It's the wall. We've been switching to dark wall colors all over the place. And this main one tip that I'm giving you is so powerful because if you think about all of the spaces that are on Airbnb, especially studios and one bedrooms, when you pick up a property, whether you buy it or whether you rent it, what wall color is the home delivered in? It's typically a version of white. It's a very light color. And when you furnished your place, you probably were more focused on the furniture and the furniture style and the layout and stuff like that, that you probably didn't get to the cool stuff like dark wall colors or accent walls. Maybe you were too afraid of committing to a drastically different color because you didn't have the vision for it. Well, we've been testing it, and I can tell you that having dark wall colors is the move. And further, there's this super popular contemporary design style currently that takes that whole IKEA Scandinavian look, the white and the very light color wood, and then just throw black walls up, black cabinets, and boom, you've got this hyper modern look that everybody loves. So you might as well go with that. There are 3 dark paint colors that I particularly love. Something like this, which is like cross between charcoal and all the way black, like super dark, but not quite black, is really good. There's one, I believe it's called Inkwell. It's what I'm using in my bedroom. That's a Sherwin-Williams name for it, but it's primarily black with a tinge of green. And then there's one called Anchors Away, which is kind of like a navy midnight blue, like more midnight than navy. And we've been using that a lot in Houston. And we've been getting great performance with that Anchors Away in Houston. Now we are getting immediate performance with a color like this in Austin. Super good. This is more safe than using some drastic color like we're also testing in Austin, but it is Austin. We're doing like key lime greens and pinks and purples and different stuff in order to try to test different colors out. And we're also using brighter colors like this bright blue with this, desaturated green to kind of create some balance and some softness to it. And we're also doing like flat hunter green as well. So we're testing different colors, but I can tell you that the darker wall colors, the reason why I think that they work so well is because they create so much contrast against your competition in your hero photos. If you don't know what your hero photo is, it's your first photo. It's the photo that you can pick to be the representative photo of your listing no matter where somebody finds it, whether it's map view or the explore page or when you share your listing online. This hero photo can be changed out and will drastically increase your click-through rate. It's probably one of the primary factors of your click-through when people discover your property. So you first need to show up in search and then you need to get clicked. I've taught this little hack before where if you're scrolling through map view and you find your listing and you see your competitors' listings, you can actually click left and right on your hero photo and it'll start to flip through your other photos. And so if you're trying to decide what hero photo is best for your listing, just toggle over until you see one that pops out the best against your competition. This is super huge. See, the philosophy here is it's not like, what is my best photo? But what photo makes me look most interesting compared to my competition? That should be your hero photo. My second tip might be a little Confucius says, if you know what I mean. There's sometimes where, educators like us will give you some advice and you'd be like, what? Of course. But you go back and revisit that advice and you go, oh, of course. It's like the second time that I read the book, The Leadership Pipeline. I learned so much from, actually, the second time I read that, or Think and Grow Rich, or How to Win Friends and Influence People. The second time I read Multipliers. I think we're onto something here. Every time you learn something, you should revisit it, right? Because you're gonna learn something again the second time. And this is one of those things, okay? If you're following me. Also subscribe. Thanks. So you need to do your research on what looks good. And yes, obviously, but please hear me out. Let me continue. You need to use examples of other people's spaces, whether or not they're relevant to yours, to develop a sense of inspiration. You need an online muse per se. And there's a few websites that I use to muse, and let me show you. Use to muse, write that down. It's good keeping that for my back pocket. So first one is Google. Of course, Sean, Google is great. Everybody uses Google, but hear me out. Let's say you're trying to come up with a design theme and you know enough keywords to start to do your search. Mid-century modern living room. You type that in. Okay, cool. But you're like, oh, Sean said dark walls. Dark wall, mid-century modern living room. Okay? Okay, cool. That one looks a little gothic. Gothic mid-century modern living room, right? See how we can start to crawl through ideas? There's a book called Brainsteering that you should read if you want to get better at this. If you want to get better at riffing off of yourself. Do the same thing with, you say rustic farmhouse bedroom. Like, this looks like everybody else's. Edgy farmhouse bedroom design, click. And you're like, oh, I got an idea. All blue farmhouse bedroom design, all pink, all green, all yellow, and start having some fun with that. And what you'll notice is as you crawl, you start to see photos that you think are interesting. And you know what's funny about interesting photos? They function exactly like your hero photo would function. Another one that you could use is Pinterest. Another one you could use is Pexels, right? Pinterest, Pexels, and Google. Between the three, you can just keep digging up cool designs. The reason why I like Google a lot is when it shows you one photo and you click on it, it automatically starts giving you like more photos kind of in that neighborhood. So I went with this gothic boho design once to do some research just for a past video that I did. And my initial gothic boho search didn't turn up anything too crazy, but then everything else that came from it after that was just outstanding. And I fell in love with the design style so much that I've painted my bedroom for the last 2 years. It's predominantly black, concrete, and then green accents. Green plants, which I've got bonsai trees because I do shibari. So I've got bonsai trees with rope in there. And then I do these green landscape photos that I took in Mexico. One was from Tabasco and one was from Chiapas. So I got these dark green, primarily green and black landscape photos. And of course I've got the grays and the concrete. So my nightstands are concrete. The bench at the foot of the bed is concrete. I've got just gigantic black canopy bed. It's cool. It's really cool. And I've really just dove in with that design style because I think it's super fun. Now my Zen room comes from this whole like monocolor idea that I just tripped over one day. So now I've got this green room. The walls are green, the furniture is green. I took this moss waterfall photo that I have on the wall. It's gigantic. I printed it. And I'm casting like rainbow colors on it because it uses silver halide paper and the colors change if you shine purple on it or you shine blue on it. It was a really cool shift. So the room is super moody. And since I do PEERSPACE, both my master bedroom and my green room have been getting a lot of interest from PEERSPACE bookings, which is really, really cool. Now my main living room, I'm still working on it, but I'm going primarily animal print. Now my master in the penthouse is still kind of up for debate because I'm trying to work with this new 14-foot painting that my friend is making. And of course I've got my piano in the living room and I've got to make it work. But as you can tell, I went with a nearly black wall for my penthouse. And yes, this is just a small chunk of my penthouse living room. Way cool for shooting YouTube videos. Another tip for you guys, if you're looking to be a little bit brave and outlandish in a way that matters to you, start intersecting your interests with design and see where they happen. A lot of people do design themes like football or baseball, their favorite sports teams. And you know, for basic travelers, that can be really on the nose for a certain demographic. And so yes, if you're next to the American Airlines Center like I am, having a Mavericks theme could work. right? And you might want to cross it over to a stars theme during a different season. And then when you're off season, you may not want to have a Mavericks theme or stars theme. You want to maybe make those interchangeable. It's like going Christmas and having a Christmas tree or something like that for your property. If you do seasonal designs like that, you could do that, but you want to make sure that they're interchangeable. So that way those design styles really slap when they matter and they don't like interrupt your normal programming in the off season. So for that reason, I would go with something more universal as a theme. So for example, you could use the moon as your inspiration, right? Start pulling moon interior design and just start Googling everything related to moon interior design, all purple moon living room, just weird phrases. Because there's this rule 37, I think it's called rule 37 on the internet, which is that if you can think of something, it already exists on the internet. So just start spitballing word combinations and color combinations. You've got zebra print, right? I bought a couple of rugs here that are zebra print. So yeah, you have zebra print interior design, safari interior design, Lion King interior design. You can do an under the sea theme if you wanted to go Disney. See, I'm just kind of starting to riff. What will happen with this is you will spit out 10 to 20 bad ideas, or not good enough ideas, or ideas that just don't stick for you. And you'll get into 2, 3, 5 ideas. It's much like as a YouTube creator, some of the advice that we get from other creators for creators out there is come up with 10 video ideas and then go deeper, come up with another 10, and then go deeper, come up with another 10, and you're gonna use one from the final 10. Because all the first 20 video ideas were way too superficial. And if you wanna niche down, you need to ask the deeper questions. So riffing 30 different design ideas out until you start to get stuff that sticks is pretty much the heart of finding like a truly unique design style that'll work for you. So if you take this advice and you take my 4 brave design styles video from the past and you watch that video and then start to riff this like weird creative energy that I'm trying to pitch at you in this video, you can put those together and you can come up with 1,000 different designs, because there are dozens of boho designs that I found, right? You've got regular boho, but you got jungle boho, gothic boho, boho minimalism. I actually did a video just on all the types of boho that I found one day, right? So that's a third video you could watch just as an example of how this works, where it crosses over. You can do the same thing with farmhouse or mid-century modern. For example, with mid-century modern, you could do a WandaVision theme. Just watch the first episode or the second, and you'll notice that every episode they change the design theme per decade, basically, as she goes through time in her mind. Really kind of cool. And so you can take the super traditional mid-century modern and mix it in with Marvel elements, and people will go, oh, this is WandaVision, way cool. You could take that mid-century modern and throw neon over the top of it, right? And just everything is neon, but with mid-century modern furniture. This is another way that you could riff on it. And you could try to do crossover themes where you use mid-century modern furniture and then you go like all super dark and you try to make it seem a little bit more gothic, like it was misplaced in time. And even though it doesn't necessarily make sense before you put it into a room, what's really cool about how our brains work is we're pattern recognizing animals. So if you put things together in a way that looks intentional, people will find a way to make it make sense in their head. And that is half of what art is, right? Take things that are unexpected, present them in an interesting and influential way, and let it impress upon the viewer whatever impression you were hoping to leave. So what I'm saying for you now, to circle the wagons, is aside from all the important stuff that we always do to be Airbnb hosts, good housekeeping, good revenue management, all that good stuff, you now need to be an artist. If you're going to be successful in 2023, you need to be an artist with your space, which means you need to artistically present your home in its design, and your photographs have to be artistic interpretations of your interesting listing. And these are the main 2 things that I think I've been talking about in my Cracking Superhost mentorships. I do about 3 or 4 hours every Saturday where I mentor, and then I've got 2 7-figure coaches that also do mentorship 3-ish hours a week each. So we're doing about 10 or 12 hours of coaching every week, and this is a big part of what we're talking about now. I'm looking at people's individual listings. I'll say, okay, we need to paint that, add some wood here, do something with the ceiling here. And we're doing one-off listing reviews and telling people how they can redesign their spaces to meet the market where they're at. So if it's that important for my most successful students, people who are already making tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, then it's going to be important for you to keep up. That's just how this world works. It is competitive by nature, isn't it? So thank you so much for watching this video. If you want any more of this kind of stuff, we do talk in my free Facebook group, The Hosts of Airbnb Automated. There will be a link down below in the description, and you can join that free Facebook group, and I'll be there chatting and sharing things too. So you might even get a little access to a conversation with me if you have any big questions, and maybe even it'll inspire a YouTube video one day. So again, thanks for watching this video. I'll get out of your way. I'll see you on the other side.